feel like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Been gone for a year, only know like once. Life moves fast when you do what you want.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Humble Pie Podcast.
Hello.
It's your boy, Vese Jones.
And none other than the neighborhood rich auntie.
What's up, auntie? What up? Yo, we back on the pod, man. We comfortable today. We on the couch. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So before we get started to this topic today, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the pod.
You always want to get you a little slice.
You know what I'm saying?
Humble pie.
Yeah.
That's how you say tap in.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep your
for
plate
sure.
full, you know?
For sure. So we're going to get into it today. So what's this I've been hearing about Diddy, though? Like, the internet has been taking off on Buddy. First it was Cassie, then it was this girl, that girl. Everybody coming out the woodworks. My man losing chair seats,
allegedly.
Endorsements.
Allegedly.
You know what I'm saying? What's going on? You know, that's more your wheelhouse. So let me know what's going on with that.
So, hot off the presses 8 hours ago. An official statement from Diddy reads as, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character. I'm fighting for my life and destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. Sean Diddy Combs." Now, I will say that whoever is his copywriter, just say that you once worked for R. Kelly, because it's giving fighting for my life. It's giving angry suits swinging.
Yeah. What do you think? Well, I think, firstly, what I've been learning about the situation that, okay, he settled with Cassie. And when he settled with her, or the insurance company settled with her, whomever, that opened the floodgates. But I also feel like this is it's also very easy to just blame somebody when everybody else is blaming somebody.
True.
Now, again, I'm not saying these are all allegations, obviously, but there are some truths. But a lot of people in the industry now are like coming out about this.
Okay, so let me counter that. So yes, there are probably people who are trying to get a quick buck off of it, right? It's the holiday season. People want new furniture. We know it.
Yeah.
But did Cassie's actions make her, what's the thing? There we go. Okay, so it's one thing where it's like, okay, yes, we know that it's gonna be people that are trying to get at Diddy for a check, right? Okay, but should we consider that Cassie's bravery could have let people know, women specifically that may have been traumatized by him and assaulted, that this triggered their ability to be brave. Maybe sometimes that type of strength comes through action.
So she like the martyr.
Like the martyr.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I see it in that. So it does appear like he's like. So do you feel like he is a predator? Do you feel like it's true, the stuff that they saying?
Yeah, you know what era he come from?
The 90s.
Yeah, definitely big predator energy.
Yeah. The 90s was a crazy time.
But that's not just him. That's most men who experienced that life. And before social media, when most men in that industry wanted to replicate, something between like a mafia movie and like all of Scarface, like they wanted to be like that, but yet they're like poets in music, so they're very sensitive, but they want to be in power. They want to sleep with all the women. They got all this money, and it's like all this power, they became drunk with it. And now it's coming out years later that they abused the access that they had.
And that's a good point. You know what I really have a problem with now that you're talking about men of power who have status? Why choose younger women or young girls or teenage girls? I'm sorry. Why deal with teenage women? Well, tell me why. Tell me why. And we're not condoning this shit. Is sick in general. Like to be a pedophile, to deal with women who are underage and you under dope, man. Like that's some sick shit to do. You know what I'm saying? But these young ladies have families. They got mamas. You think they mamas weren't on point or knew what was going on?
Some mamas do know and they don't care. some mamas don't know, and their children go above and beyond.
Now, these mothers had to know to some extent that their teenage daughters was dealing with these older men like Diddy or other people in the industry. So why do you think, or if at all, that they allowed that to go on, and then now, they're coming out saying, he was sexually assaulting them, the kids, allegedly. You know what I'm saying?
Put down the ticker, just allegedly.
Allegedly, right here, y'all.
Allegedly. I would say, and we talked about this off camera, like people that we went to middle school, so we know what's the ages of middle school.
13, 12, 11 to 13 years old.
Like 11 to 13, 14. So it's like we went to school with girls that would tease me for not liking men who were not of our age. Like the fact that I liked somebody who was also 13.
Right.
26 or 27 or 28. But their parents knew it. And actually some of the friends that I had who parents knew that they had old boyfriends, it was because their boyfriend was breaking something off to their single mom.
Like the drug dealer in the hood.
Yeah, and they were drug dealers in the hood. So it's like, these are moms who, whatever their situation was, where does your mind go to forfeit your daughter's innocence for a light bill?
I mean, I think, and thinking about it like that, the mothers are to blame, essentially.
Pimping.
And you pimping your own child in a very sad way, and you have created these traumas within your child. You know what I'm saying? And now these women who are now old enough, like I said, Cassie is now brave enough to get on the stage and say, hey, this was what was going on. Yeah. I say skipping, and a lot of women, I would say a lot of men and women are abused as children, maybe because of their parents, and now they're able to speak out on it, and it's very traumatic.
It is very traumatic. I put this on my TikTok the other day saying, like people just have to be careful of making the judgment against Cassie and also just anybody who comes after her.
Yeah.
Because to the point, like you mentioned, like it can ignite something in someone. And like what I was sharing in that video is that we don't know what were the responsibilities of those women at that present time in their life. Did they have the bandwidth and the space and also the support to come out and say something? Because we thinking about it from the mindset of where we are today.
Right.
If you in 1993 and you see Diddy on not 106 in Park, you would have seen him on some MTV show.
The Box.
You would have seen him on In the Basement, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Would you really have felt empowered to say something before Me Too, before you had something called like your own platform where you can get on and create your own narrative? You had to have money and access to be able to go after men like that back then.
Yeah.
Now you have the world to speak to through a platform. So it's like we just got to be mindful of not judging people for not doing things in the way that we assume that we would when we don't own the trauma.
Yeah, and it's not always easy to speak out on abuse. Yeah. Like that's just a level of vulnerability that I think some people may never reach, and those of us that can reach that level, it's a beautiful thing and it's a hurtful thing at the same time. But if you want to reach that next level in your healing, I think it's definitely important to be able to vent. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, like I said, Diddy, hey, we gonna keep y'all updated, I guess, as it continues to unfold. But on the flip side, Nelly and Shanti been knocking boots. They've been knocking boots, so they are now expecting. If we was to take a guess, would they be better having a girl or a boy? Because Nelly got kids, right?
He got some kids.
Right. I know this ain't his first baby, so
he probably got some kids that play taxes.
Yeah, because they up there like damn near 50 or something like that. Yeah. So I know you was telling me that Ashanti need to be careful because Nelly didn't put this baby in her to kind of keep her. Like, is this a save it baby or?
According to TikTok. Because, TikTok is the new authority.
Facts.
They are posing a question from two sides. Did he take this 10, 15-year break or whatever to eventually come back to her? He done went out and sold his royal oats or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And now he done got his dream girl back. And because he know all of what he may have done, allegedly, he has now impregnated her to lock her in. Like, this time you ain't going nowhere, no matter what I did. Or is she like, oh, nigga, you done bent the block.
Right.
For sure. I'm locking you in because you not going nowhere. So Is it a save it, baby?
Okay, I think
Make it last forever, baby.
I want to say this just because this is true. Like, I ain't gonna say it's true, but this is, I think, women have babies thinking that it's gonna keep a man. It don't matter your status. You could not have anything, but when a person wants to have an attachment to you in that way, they'll have your baby. As far as a female,
Be like, I crack my eggs.
right? And now on the flip side, a man will impregnate you, knowing his intention is not essentially to have a family with you, but to have that connection with you.
Because I don't want no other nigga.
Yeah, that's my baby mama and Blase Skippy. So they want to have that lifelong connection in that way.
Yeah,
so it works both ways. And people who are on celebrity level clearly have the same dealings or priorities or questions that are aroused. I would like to think that they're doing it to, establish some type of family because at their age, I mean, it's it's
C50?
I'm gonna just say, I don't know. Let me look it up. We got the Bill Gates internet. What? She 40. She 43. Ashanti look good for her age though.
Yeah.
So I mean, is that even healthy to have a baby that age?
Well, after 35, it's called geriatric pregnancy.
Wait, she's 49.
No, 42.
Oh shit!
She's 42.
Y'all confusing me. Oh, okay. I bet. So now you was also telling me that Nelly, I guess during this break time, who was he actually dealing with? Some lady.
So he was in a long-term relationship with somebody called Miss Jackson. She now is doing influencer work on TikTok for insoles for your shoes.
Oh.
So
there
we go.
Jackson?
Chantel
Jackson. And this chick, she basically left Floyd Mayweather to be with Nelly.
Yes. Many of people have left Floyd to go elsewhere. Ray J's wife.
Really?
Princess.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I guess it is true that money doesn't buy happiness. On the outside looking in, obviously we know Money Mayweather, he got all this bread, you know what I'm saying? He could essentially have whomever he wants, but I guess it gets a lot deeper than that. Like as far as with women, like you can literally give a woman materially everything she wants, but it's really not what she wants.
It's not what she wants, especially if she hasn't experienced it. And a lot of people want things that they don't know what comes with the responsibility of it. So it's like when you have a man, especially like a Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, Money May. That's
generational wealth.
For sure.
Like that comes with a certain level of I can do whatever I want. And unless he has subscribed to something that is higher than himself to keep him on the straight and narrow, yeah, he finna be all upside your head, all up the wall with other women, all outside. So people ask for stuff and they don't know what they really asking for sure.
Now, me on the outside looking in, like obviously Mayweather is the type of man who can give a woman whatever she wants, right? When we talking materials, and it gets so much deeper than that. So today we want to actually get into what do men and women actually want. What do we want? I think it obviously is going to vary person to person. So this is not the tell all, do all, that we're going to spit with y'all right now. So I just want to get into this about exactly what we want or what we essentially need when we just garnering friendships, relationships, and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So Nolita, I want you to maybe open up and just kind of give me an idea. You ain't got to give us the whole rundown of what women want, but let some of the people know and myself, like what is it that things that women want that men might not necessarily know off bat?
I would say for myself and what I have talked with in like very private, confidential conversations, right, with friends. I think a common thing is safety. And sometimes men take that as she just want to know, like, I can protect her. It's like, nah, I'm not doubting the fact that you can probably lay somebody out, but I'm talking about when I have mental warfare going on, how are you a covering for me in that space? Do you create a space for me to be emotionally safe with you? Do you create a space even beyond emotion? Do you assess what's going on in my life to know how you can impact financial safety? Like familiar, like all of these different levels to safety. I think a lot of women, we want that. Just the emotional availability and maturity is really important. And to feel desired on a soul level and not your body level. So it's like when you hear that, Does that align with something that you and your friends have talked about as being, or like, is there a gray area?
I think essentially, when you first talked about safety,
Mm-hmm.
I think men, we're instantly going to think on a more physical level,
Okay.
like respect my personal space, my lady personal space, in that way when it comes to safety,
Yeah.
like being there for you, showing up in that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The emotional intelligence part, I think, comes with time if those conversations are being had. I don't think a man will come into a situation just being on point emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
knowing how to make him be a safe space for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think those type of conversations have to be garnered. They have to be watered. You know what I mean? Because you got the soil, so you have to plant the seed of that. Like, I need to feel safe. Just like people talk about they love languages and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you're saying, like as far as women, men, we're not initially thinking about safety in that way. I would have to say now I'm not some men, because we know some of you men are so ideal and you come with the, you are
Y'all have
high
done the
value
work.
men, and y'all doing the work, and you got what they call the shadow journal and da da da.
We
But
rebuke it in the name of Jesus.
for us brethren who are still who are still evolving in that space and trying
Yeah.
to learn our women and just learn women in general about what they want, we got to figure that out. I think that's just conversations we got to have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would in essence say, nah, we not coming with that emotional intelligence off that. Nah, that's not happening.
So I think another difference that I've noticed between just how men and women, I feel like we make more of a consistent effort to develop those muscles, right? The emotional maturity, the safety, just in general for our person to person experience.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it seem that men have to be prompted from the romantic advantages to want to do that work?
Because we're just not wired that way initially. I think a man's motivation when it comes to being emotionally intelligent is just simply desire. He has to want to. We're not going to come into a situation vulnerable in that way.
But you show up vulnerable with friends and family. So, like, do you feel like those skill sets are just not interchangeable?
Yeah, I would say like the barbershop talk, being around your guys, there's a certain level of vulnerability that men just off back gonna have.
Yeah.
And then when they get with their lady, it's definitely another level, obviously, that we gotta have, but it's not going to be a default type level. I think you're going to grow into that. In my relationship experiences, I didn't come into those experiences or situations being vulnerable.
Okay.
I think that's more how some women approach situations and have that level of vulnerability, because let's just be honest, women are hopeless romantics in a way. Off bat, typically, a man is not going to emotionally attach himself to every woman he's with. A woman is going to be in a situation more often than not based on emotion. How does he make me feel? How does he make me feel safe?
How do I think he's making me feel? Because sometimes we also paint pictures that ain't nobody looking at but us.
That's true. So knowing these things, a woman is more susceptible to getting her feelings hurt, to getting her heart hurt, to be in situations that have led her off potential and not really what was there from begin with. And I think that's where the blurred lines come in at when it comes to what men want and what women want. So now that we're coming to the table and having these conversations, it's essential that if you want to have something sustainable, that you have to talk about your wants and needs as relates to friendships and relationships.
So, because I'm going to get in your business.
Go ahead.
In past years versus the happiness that you're experiencing right now with the person who's on the other side of this camera.
Wallace Hall, you got to do that every episode.
Shout out to my girl.
That's funny.
So, how have your needs and your wants developed in this current season in your life with who you're dating? Like, has she brought new things to the surface for you? How have you evolved emotionally as a man since being in this relationship?
I think firstly, when we navigating our feelings as a man, you have to want to. There has to just be an innate desire to grow as a man. Yeah. Because we have this natural animal instinct to hunt. Yeah. To be with several women and to desire and do that. So once that dissipates, when you navigating that, it's important then to say, okay, I need to lock in on this prey, lock in on this woman, and from that space, you then learn as you go. You know what I'm saying? So, like I was saying, those levels of vulnerability for us have come through conversation.
Mm-hmm.
They have come through experiences.
And this is not just his, his public announcement type of response. He actually says these things off camera.
They come from disagreements. They come from uncomfortable conversations. I think when you navigating, when you truly trying to sustain something with somebody, just in general in relationships, that's just what you do. Now, in my past experiences, that wasn't always the case, nor the energy behind it.
Okay.
I think men, we have the ability to make our feelings temporary. To say, all right, I'm only going to give this much. I'm only going to feel this much. And if I feel myself going further, I'm either going to sabotage it in a way and or remove myself from the situation. Like, a man will leave a situation when he start catching feelings. A woman will run to that.
People have full-on like dating services where they teach about this, where they say, if you go on a number of dates with him and then after like week 6, there's a pull away period. Like, they have a whole ideology around this. And they say that that's supposedly normal. It's called y'all retreat. Yeah.
When you first get to know. Okay, so if that's the case, then how long the honeymoon phase supposed to last? Because they saying if it's a retreat phase and it's a honeymoon phase, so are you in a honeymoon phase until you retreat, or do you keep working through that?
Well, it seems the way that the TikTok relationship
right.
people
Shout out to TikTok.
have explained it, it seems as if they're saying that the retreat part happens before the official commitment is made to enter into the honeymoon. Like, we're here now, but it's like a man having to take time to process. Like you said, like, I feel these things. Do I want to feel these things? Am I ready to feel these things?
Yeah.
Is she ready to experience me? Feel like what?
Yeah, because we way more selective when it comes to who we care about in that way. We are way more careful in that manner because I think some men, we just have a certain amount of love to give. And we're very particular about that meter of love and affection or care that we give, because we're giving it to mamas, we're giving it to grandmamas and stuff like that. But when it comes to our relationships, we definitely, when we want to be in something serious, it's going, like, I can probably count on one hand how many serious relationships I've been in, or less than, you know what I'm saying? Like less than 5. Yeah. Like, a woman is going to probably have more experiences than that. As some women, you know what I'm saying? She's going to probably, let's just say, for example, and we ain't got no studies. We ain't that type of podcast to, read all these studies. This is
study your life.
Yeah. Like, just say, we're going to use the number 10. If a woman date 10 guys, she's probably going to have real feelings for 7 of those guys.
Ooh.
Like, more than half. She's going to be like 60 to 70. It might be 90%, but just for the sake of conversation, argument, and a man in that same situation, if he dates 10 women, he's probably going to have genuine feelings for maybe 1.
I'm 37. I've dated, right? So I've dated people 3 months, and nigga, you ain't my cup of tea. So,
yeah.
But I would say from when my mama said I could go outside,
get off the porch. When you get off the porch
at 15 at 37, I probably have had real solid feelings that I was not being delulu about.
Because women be delulu.
4.
Okay. So you a little less than the number I threw out of there.
Because it's like the older you get, the more you look back. And even not even like years ago, it's just like when you're in a situation, you're getting to know somebody, you just really understand, like, I ain't really like that nigga.
Oh, yeah. For sure. And I think
like
from a man's perspective, we live in a period of lust a lot. Because we're a lot of visual creatures. So when the man is living in a period of lust, meaning, and I think you talked about this, like as a man, like, you have to be able to you got to be able to have platonic relationships with women.
Yes.
A lot of men, we don't live in that space. Typically, when we're assessing women as a single man or whatever, we like, I want her. Like, it's like we not really discerning what we want. We kind of just want everything. It's a smorgasbord of desires and or lust. Yeah. So that's why we will be in multiple temporary situation or seasonal things. And now that these same men, because I'm 37 as well, those of us who have gotten older, like, you know what? I've experienced enough of that. That's how we can be more convicted and being something committed, and now work on our emotional intelligence. Now be vulnerable. Now be able to have those conversations, because it's like, not in a sense we sold our royal oats. It's just like we've matured and we have now made that decision to grow in those spaces. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, we now know what we want. We now know what we need based on experiences.
So with that limited experience, do you feel like that sets y'all up to be like super independent
In a relationship?
Yeah, like if you're so accustomed to just lust and it being very surface, right? That means that there is a lack of experience in like an intimate way, right? So, like, does that make you super independent?
When you say independent, what do you mean? Like, as far as just doing for myself?
Doing for yourself, not needing any out, or not, I won't even say needing, not truly desiring outside input or like an additional person to consider and to like share your feelings with. Like, do you just get used to just having this little charcuterie board of women hitting the skins and then just replacing it? Like,
yeah, I mean, at one point, yeah, that was definitely like that. Y'all have y'all little kumbaya moment, you know. But I don't. I do not mind being vulnerable on my podcast, on the Humble Pike podcast, because it's all about being accountable. So yeah, I mean, when you're an independent man and you feel like you have the charcuterie board of women to go through and do your thing and have your things your way, it does take a level of maturity to now care about somebody else and put someone else first. Now, in addition to that, there's also a part of you as a man that's like, all right, I mean, there's still some things that I'm not necessarily going to bend on right now. You know, those are just some things, you know, that as a man, you know, we might not want to be talked to a certain way. It's a certain octave. I can speak for myself that I just, you know, have to sometimes, hey, you're at a 7, I need you to bring it down to maybe like a 4, you know?
So the question with the 7 to the 4 is when you hear what is probably a 4 in real time, are you triggered by past experience that makes you think that it's a 7? Because men have their own version of Delulu too. See, we have Delulu as far as when it comes to the ability for how this man is going to show up and who we want him to be. Men can be Delulu in a sense. We can say, babe, can you please open up? I won't even say please. Babe, can you get the door? Nigga, can you get the door? That's what
that's how I heard it.
It's like nobody said that.
Okay, so let's start this word trigger.
Nigga, take out the trash.
Let's start with the word triggered. I think that is a word that is heavily used in this space. And I think we need to unpack it and actually get to the root of what is a trigger. A trigger is something you pull that essentially brings something out. Meaning if I'm triggering you, I am putting the cables on you, so to speak. Now, I don't think triggers are all the time attached to an previous experience or a past experience, whether it was traumatic or not. I think sometimes it's just your boundary. But I think we've replaced the word boundary with trigger to kind of to placate or give ourselves an excuse for the reaction to said trigger. So, for example, if you said something to me, or get the door, and I heard it, hey, get the goddamn door. Now I feel justified in my response to that because I'm triggered. Yeah. However, had I said it was a boundary, I don't really appreciate being talked to that way. Then we can now grow in what we consider to be a trigger space. And I'm glad you used that word because it's overused. And I think when people hear words like gaslighting, triggered, and trauma, they lose essence. And what I like to do is unpack the root of it. Like, why are we talking about why are we saying we triggered? Because when we say we are being triggered, are we offering that as an excuse to justify our action based on how we heard something or seen something? Now, I'm not saying people triggers it's not wrong. You know, if you trigger, you trigger. But when do we become emotionally intelligent enough to say, hey, I need to heal through those triggers? For example, myself, okay, I don't like the way you said that, or it sounded like this to me in a very calm tone or whatever. Personally, I'm not an argumentative person, but I wear my emotions on my sleeve a lot of times. So I can definitely be guilty of hearing the 7 when it really was a 4. But I'm not going to say I don't want to say or have an excuse of saying that triggered me because that's gonna be my stance with that. Like, I think we all have to now come to the table on the pod and understand that if something is triggering you, is that shouldn't be an excuse to fire back at someone, to throw more fuel on the fire, because then you're not getting anywhere. Now that you're butting heads because I didn't mean it that way. Well, you took it that way, and now you in this space of disagreement and anger and or triggering activity when really it could just been like a boundary set. Because just like right now, with women, as far as the boundary, men know now they should walk up and touch a woman on her ass, right? So you get in a relationship with a man and he touch you on the ass, you hit his hand. Don't do that. That's triggering. Nah, that's not triggering in that sense, because that's your man, right? He should be able to touch you in that way or to show the affection in that way.
And you have to be able to communicate what your experiences have been for things that make you uncomfortable.
Right.
So to your point, like unfortunately, I've had experiences where I've been sexually assaulted in some way, shape, form, or fashion more than once. And for a very long time, I didn't tell my mom about this one time until I was maybe like 25 and a half, when I was maybe 16 or 17. And it was something that this person said to me while they were abusing me in broad daylight, that for years, the words, whenever I would hear a man say that, it would trigger me. And I was dating somebody who used to, like, just the way that he would just try to get the wheels turning with us, it reminded me of that. But I had to have a very uncomfortable conversation for myself, but also for him, because it made me feel like, okay, am I damaged goods? Is this somebody that he wants to be with? And I have these triggers. Because if that's how he operates, or if he's used to women that respond to, men choking them while they have, you don't know if that's a trigger for me.
Yeah.
But it's like, I had to have that conversation and say, hey, when you say this in that tone in this setting, that's triggering for me. Why is that? Now we got to have a deeper conversation. So, but I had to get to a space where I could even say it out loud.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I salute you for being able to speak on that, because that's not something that's easy for people to speak on right away. When you deal and go through things as a youth, you almost embarrassed, you're afraid to even come to the table because you don't know how you're going to be perceived. Just like Cassie didn't come out right away and talk about Diddy. But now that she's gotten older, she's now able to speak her truth in that space. Yeah. So I applaud anyone who can speak on that healing process. And just like you were saying, as you were explaining that, I said all you did with the guy you was dating was set a boundary. Yeah. That's and that's what I'm saying. Like when we look at the essence of triggers, it's all about resetting and setting boundaries. And as you're growing in relationships in the dating scene, I think it's definitely important for couples, or even when you're dating, to be open and honest about situations. Just like I heard the guy the term he used, I'm ethically non-monogamous.
What?
Okay. What that means is you having sex with multiple women, but you just letting them know. You ever heard that term?
No, he keeping it 100. All right. Like,
yeah, but we find these different words to condone.
Yeah, to make it seem like it's so much more admirable that you're doing.
To make it appear, like you said, this word is thrown around now, emotionally intelligent. So to appear more emotionally intelligent, I'm gonna tell you on smashing other chicks. And so if you choose to let me smash you too, you just as guilty, or you cool with it.
And it's like, that doesn't speak to your emotional intelligence. No. It speaks to just your ability to say things in a very frank and blunt way. Yeah. But it's like the practices that you're doing, the actions that you're taking are still going to create friction no matter how you say it. Yeah. When you're still trying to replicate a monogamous relationship. Like,
I think monogamy, because I was talking about earlier how men, what we want and what we need, so to speak, like, monogamy is a learned behavior for men, meaning we don't come out the gate once we become sexually mature and sexually active. Some, I'm gonna say some. So as a young man, when you become sexually mature, monogamy is not something we innately have off bat. Okay. I think monogamy is something you learn once your sexual experiences increases for some men. So. And this is just me. Men, some men got it easier than others when it comes to getting with women. Some men, we ain't got to work. Some men ain't got to work as hard.
True. Okay.
And again, also when it comes to the ratio of men and women, so we're gonna have more selections. We're gonna have more choices in that way. So when we talk about emotional intelligence and all those things and monogamy, those are all choices.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when it comes to men, and I know we want to definitely tap into what men want and what women want. And I want to throw this out here as far as what I feel like some men want, that because I feel like this. Women already feel like they know what we want. And because they already feel like that, when we ask or require something out of their said thought process, then they switch it up and say, I'm not enough, or that's not enough. And I think that's unfair.
What do you mean?
Okay, so
what do you mean?
so most women will come to a situation feeling like the complete package.
Yeah.
Feeling like, especially now at our big age, at the age now, most women you meet now, you're just being an adult at the end of the day, a grown woman. You're taking care of your responsibilities. If you're a mom, if you're not a mom, whatever the case may be. So when you come to the dating scene and you seeing somebody, it's like, okay, off bat, if he's talking to me, if he's coming on to me, it's because he's physically attracted to me. So I already kind of know what he wants. Yeah. I know how to cater to him as a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm already, got the blueprint on him. Yeah. But you are offering this man, let's just say, gifts, and you're showering him with quality time when really he just want to hear something nice. He wants you to support him. He wants to say, good job, or pat him on the back. Yeah. Or he might want to have sex. He might want to be intimate. He wants that physical touch. He might want to cuddle up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And women, I don't think some women, like I say, some women, they have to care about a man enough to exercise those languages. Just like vice versa for women, I'm sorry. Same way, but I feel like a man has to show that he's capable of these things. Like I was saying a little earlier about like monogamy for men is like a learned behavior. It's like we don't come off the bat once we reach our sexual maturity age of saying, okay, some men, because I want to say some, like just want to be with one person. Like over time that comes, you know what I'm saying, as far as being able to just date one person and being monogamous, stuff like that. But I just thought that was just when Buddy brought that phrase, emotionally intelligent and ethically non-monogamous, people just took off with that because subconsciously people want to find reasons and or ways to justify their behaviors online. So like if I could say something to you and then bring it up on the internet, 3,000 other people feel this way too. So I ain't sure. Now. Yeah, exactly. And we're so focused on trends that we're not really focused on truths. Facts. I think that was a bar right there. That felt like a bar. Trends. I have to clip that. Like we are so focused on trends that we are getting further and further away from the truth. Yes. And like you said, people living in a stages of the Lulu. So we're still getting to the conversation as far as what men want, obviously what women want, and I think they are very different things. Because I was touching on that, like women, y'all feel like y'all know we want off bat, and I don't feel like that's always the case. Have you ever felt like that? Like you coming to the table, you the table, blase Skippy, so you already know what this man needs.
I'm the lumberjack queen with the flannel.
Oh, you putting it together.
I'm pulling up with I got a truck full of wood too. So what are you gonna build with the wood that I'm bringing?
But see, that's a woman's job. Is let me correct myself. A man's a man's responsibility, right, is to bring something to a woman to help multiply it, right? Give her a house, she turn into a home. Give her groceries, she turn into food, right? Yeah. So now that we had these conversations about the table and all that, I think that's where the lines again get blurred because we have lumberjack women out here with the flannels on. So lumberjack women, how do you go about moving in that space when it comes to what you may need?
I guess because, and we've talked about this before. Y'all have heard me say this. I don't want to tell nobody else what to do. If I find me a man that can take that off of my plate for me, that really, really, really allows me the emotional space to show up for him in the way that he needs to. But when I have to dedicate so much of my time and my energy and just my mental real estate to being masculine and to being on defense for my career, being on defense of my own safety when I'm not around you, like that is draining. So it's like when you as a man and men can create that space for us. Oh, you gonna get me out the door? Hey, babe. Lemonade, fresh made. Ice cubes. Probably in a nice shape too. Like you're gonna get all of that. But when I'm coming in with a computer that I gotta crack back open, that I gotta figure out because you also asking me what I'm finna eat, what we finna eat, and now I'm doing emails and I'm Uber eating. Like I'm just not gonna have as much to give if you're not creating that space for me to be in my feminine and in the soft.
Your soft life.
Soft.
That's a good point. So let's talk about that a little bit when it comes to leadership and or gender roles in relationships.
Okay.
Like you saying, when you have a woman who has a career and who's successful. So I want to tap into this real quick.
Okay.
When we talked about the leadership in the household and gender roles, when you have two, I guess, independent individuals, and then they come together to be, I think the words you had taught me before the show, interdependent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so that easeability that you said allows woman to live in her soft era or her soft phases when a man is, I guess, leading her. I ain't gonna say properly leading because leadership looks different for every relationship, but just the base of leadership, making things easier on one another or making decisions for your partner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When it comes to relationship. As a man, I've struggled with leadership. I think men automatically feel like because we're a man, we're a leader. Yeah. Now, to be a leader, it means to get a group of people or let's just say family in this instance, to a common goal. So to reach a level of whatever you consider your success to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I struggled with that because I'm just an overthinker. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you want to be right all the time that now maybe I'm asking her, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you want to eat? That's the that's the $1 million question when you in a relationship. What's for dinner? You know what I'm saying? Or what we gonna eat today? You know what I'm saying? But I think as a man, as you grow more comfortable, in that space, then you can kind of learn how to cultivate your family and lead them to said goals. I get like for me, I just haven't always been certain or maybe insecure in that way. And I think a lot of men, we have to be honest about that. Like, being insecure doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're susceptible to flipping out. It just means there's an area of your life that you need to tighten up. Insecure. So I'm unable to secure things. Again, getting back to the root of words and trying to take the power that people have given these words to make them feel less than, vulnerable, feminine energy, triggering. Like it's time, and we're gonna help y'all here on the pod. At least I'm gonna attempt to. I'm gonna help you guys redefine some of these things from my own experiences. If you're gonna listen to somebody on the internet, listen to us. You know what I'm saying? Get you a slice. So make sure you subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you comment it. So I want to segue this part of the conversation even more because you kind of talked about a little bit about, just a couple things maybe women want. What is it that women want that men have a hard time or a difficult time giving or even showing up? What is something that men struggle with?
I guess to your point about just the mention of the independent to interdependent, right?
Okay,
I would love to not have to be independent within a relationship, but that independence, I can take that cloak off and put on the cloak of being interdependent and looking to my spouse or partner as a resource and not like just a financial resource or just as somebody that I know is in my corner. I can let go of that independence when I trust you, when I feel safe. So
that's
it's like what we're talking about, feeling safe. But to your point about a lot of men are fighting to be considered the leader, but the qualifications as to what they think it takes to get that response from women, but then also to get the trophy as leader, the qualifications are off. Just because God has graced you to live longer doesn't make you a leader. Just because you are physically equipped for it doesn't make you a leader. It's the things that you mentioned. So it's like, if a man is not displaying that you can lead me, that you can show me, you can teach me new things, and that you're also a teacher that is willing to receive a lesson, because teachers learn from their students as well. Mm-hmm. And like those positions can be interchangeable between us too. Like, why would I take off the cloak of being independent when I know that that's what has sustained me until you came into the picture?
Right. So women basically trust in themselves.
Yeah,
essentially,
yeah. And you gotta put something on. You gotta put some. What y'all say in sports? You gotta put something on the board.
You gotta get a bucket. you gotta get a bucket
for me to feel like, okay, let me sit down.
Yeah, and I guess that brings us back to this: what you bring to the table conversation a little bit, as far as what women, what men and women, can offer. So yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna go too crazy on your point of view there, but I just think that when it comes to that, again, women have inherited value, and a man has to show up off back. Yeah. So leadership looks different in let's just say in the black culture. Mm-hmm. I think the world has now put unrealistic goals, or like women say they want good men and stuff like that, but he got to make 6 figures, by Skippy, but the average man ain't making 6 figures. The average woman ain't making 6 figures.
I want a man. This is very simple to frame it up. I want a man to show up for me the way he wants the same young man to show up for his daughter when he comes to the door.
So, and what way is that?
So you would want your daughter to have somebody who is going to.
Okay, so I have a daughter.
Yes.
And you're saying a young man coming to my door, I want him to be.
Like, what are some of the values that you're looking for? Like, for him to honor her, protect her, respect, value her enough to profess his feelings to her. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's essentially what we are asking for as women. Don't put me through nothing that you wouldn't want your daughter to go through.
Right. So you saying off that, men not coming to the door, respecting y'all, not honoring y'all, not valuing y'all. That's what you saying?
Some men put, how can I say this?
The value is displaced, is what I think.
The value is displaced, but then also they just compartmentalize, and they're selectively being obtuse to the fact that they know that they're doing this. They're compartmentalizing. I know that I'm with this woman who very well may be the mother of my children or a mother figure to my children. And I know that I have her. I know that the children are seeing the example of my interaction with her. But I'm not going to make the best effort here. But I'm going to be bold enough that when my daughter becomes of age, she's supposed to have all of this wealth of knowledge and discernment to pick up on things and to select a man that displays things that I never showed.
Yeah, and I think that goes to one of those situations where do as I say and not as I do.
Yeah.
And being a parent, that's what we're trying to break, those generational curses, because no one walked me through how to be a gentleman. Mm-hmm. Speaking on myself, no one walked me through how to be chivalrous. Mm-hmm. All these things were learned behavior that I took upon myself to come upon. Mm-hmm. So the things that women want, and it's not making an excuse, a lot of men or some men just haven't learned to do that yet. So that doesn't mean I don't want the man that comes to date my daughter. Mm-hmm. I don't want him to have that, nor would I say, oh, that's an excuse for him to have it. No, I'm going to show and guide my daughter so her selection is better in that space. I think women have to also be accountable in that, because
not be delulu.
Exactly. Don't be delusional. Like you see he may not be capable, of he's not showing you true efforts in that space. However, you still having a baby with him. However, you still seeing him. However, you let him call you any time of the day, hit you up, and y'all having this ethically monogamous or non-monogamous relationship. You know what I'm saying? It takes two. You know what I'm saying? So hell no, I don't want my daughter, like when people say that, like, think about the man you are, and that, like, I want my daughter obviously to date a young man that's essentially better than me, not me.
But you still have to give her a baseline, right?
Yes, but her baseline essentially doesn't have to be from what I have done or are doing. Don't do what you see your dad doing in that sense. If I was to do what I saw my dad do, I would have been incarcerated, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my dad can say, all right, son, don't do X, Y, and Z. So I could have been the type of man who dated several women or was non-ethically seeing multiple women, right? Or been the type of guy who used women, whatever the case want to be, however you want to slice it up.
Yeah.
And, yeah, there you go. But still yet require my daughter to say, hey, don't date a guy if he behaving this way. Why? Because I've been that guy. So I can tell you, hey, I can tell you what not to attract, what not to deal with. It's up to you to grow up and to discern what's best for you. Because I can want who I want for my daughter. However, that's still her choice. Your daddy can want you to date a man who's X, Y, and Z, but you can still want. You might want to date Pookie and Ray Ray for a little while.
But you still have to know that even though you're saying that, your actions and how she has seen you and just fathers in general, how your daughters see you interact with women in front of them and how you speak about them or when they're out of your presence, that's going to make an impression on her. It's not like she's going to be going on dates like, you're not like my father. Get out of my face, Negro. Like, she's not going to say that.
A lot of women ain't got their dating around to compare it to anyway, so.
That is the truth.
So yeah, so they going through a lot of these situations, and that wasn't a knock. That's just a fact.
Yeah,
like when the phrase "daddy issues," let's talk about this for a quick second. A daddy issue is I didn't have my dad around, and Nolita, you can speak to having your dad around and how it has helped you, right? And women who don't have a active father or at least a father figure, you know what I'm saying? So now they're dating, these different type of men who. No one told her don't go for this guy. She's learning as she go. She's learning as she go, and she's gonna have some heartbreak. Men, we have learned as we went as well when it comes to things that women need. So that's what I'm trying to get at and bring it home in that sense. It's like we don't come, as far as some men, we don't come to the door knowing and having all these things lined out. Some of us have to learn our women. On the surface, yes, I think you're beautiful, you're attractive. I want to get to know you. So now after that, now I got to learn you. But I'm just not gonna automatically be this romantic, chivalrous, sex guy off bat with all this money and driving this particular car with this type of house and all these stocks put up and all this passive income and some of this Delulu stuff that women expect to have because maybe they experienced it once in their life, or maybe they seen it once on the internet, or maybe they got a girlfriend who got a guy doing that. And that's just not realistic. So it has skewed what women want, in my opinion.
But do you feel that with what you were speaking on earlier about, monogamy is something that a man has to learn. It's a practice.
For sure. It's a practice and a decision, but yeah.
So in that that lust season also that you mentioned, do you feel like that is where independence is created? Like it becomes deeply rooted in men where they don't, it's like such a wall up, right? Because you're so accustomed to just dealing with women at a certain level and it does not go above and beyond, and you're not allowing yourself to feel to want to do all the chivalrous things, to be that type of man. Do you feel like that can be a hindrance to kind of dissolve that wall when you do get into a relationship that you opted into, nobody put a gun to your head?
Right.
So it's like, how does independence show up in how men show up in relationships that have not had that deep intimacy?
It goes back to the willingness. Well, let me go back one step. Conversation.
Okay.
Because I think we said that the last pod, a woman gotta sometimes say that, like, this is what I need. And it might not register the first time, the second, third, fourth, fifth. But what I'm saying is he got to be made aware. Like, this might have been how you move, but now that we've come,
shaking on bill.
Yeah, exactly. So now, and at that point, once a man is aware of what, then you can, I think, rightfully judge him in that space. Like, is he making those true strides to be better for us, be better for the relationship? And then, if that does happen, then he's doing the work. Like some men, then you can see, then a decision has been made. Okay, now he's interdependent in the relationship. Because before he was just dependent. Being a single man, most men, everything has its pros and cons to it. And I will mention some. One is just unnecessary soul ties. Unnecessary. When you live a life of a single man sometimes. And it ain't always physical. I know a lot of times
True. I get
women may think that when men are single or he's just, slanging dick all around town. It really don't be like that for real. Like sometimes men are single because they don't want the responsibility of a relationship and or they know they're not ready for that. So they're not going to put themselves in a situation that not necessarily they can't get out of, but they don't want to bite off more than they can chew. So
Yeah.
sometimes what happens is this is how and from that is how situationships are born.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens, women then, okay, I'm cool with you not making me your girl. However, I'm gonna still offer you and or provide for you all these essentials of being being your woman. Because a woman subconsciously wants to prove that she can be your lady. So she's
super optimistic.
exactly so because y'all emotional.
Yeah.
And you leaning on that potential of this man potentially being your man, you gonna pour out all this to him. And now a month then went by, 2 months, 6, 7, 8 months, years then went by, and this man ain't even really committed to you for real.
Mm-hmm.
He done had a baby on you, or he didn't. Y'all take breaks,
or he's just living his life.
and then that's when people say, "Oh, now he's a manipulator." Then that word comes into play, or he's a narcissist. I'm sorry, that's the other popular one. Now he's a narcissist because he decided to continue to live independent while the woman thought he would become interdependent when he just stayed independent.
But see, sometimes men, because there are benefits to allowing a woman to live in a state of delusion.
Right, but we call narcissists for that or manipulators when women live in delusion.
Beneficial to them. But I think you made a valid point in a sense of the not wanting to be on the hook or be responsible for anything. And I think sometimes women, we don't pick up on the fact of if you dealing with somebody and y'all may have great chemistry, you may be able to chill, y'all may be, rolling in the sheets or whatever.
Whoa.
But if the man doesn't necessarily want you to say, like, if you at his house chilling, you see some dishes in the sink, and he like, nah, you ain't got to do that. Is it because you really don't want me to wash no dishes, or you don't want me to wash dishes because you don't want me to get comfortable over here? You don't want me to think, and that's what I'm saying about how are men. It's so often that men are saying that we are too independent. We don't know how to let a man show up, but because men are so, they do have seasons where y'all are dealing with women only at a very basic level. That when somebody does come in and she does feel like that chemistry is there and y'all have that connection, but you're so accustomed to shutting it down because you don't want to have that emotional connection or even open yourself up for the conversation. Like, how is that supposed to be received?
First of all, if a woman washing my dishes, she can wash them. I ain't gonna stop her, and I ain't gonna feel away. But I think it's just a fine line. Everything really ties back because I don't want to talk in circles. Mm-hmm. It ties back into just communicating those boundaries. Yeah. And I think that's what's important right now on the scene when we talk about what men want and what women want. Because both claim they're simple. Everybody says, I am so simple. I don't require much. I've been guilty of saying that. I'm sure you probably feel that way. You kind of opened up and said that we're simple. But I don't think it's that. No, I don't feel like nobody is simple. You don't want to be considered simple. Yeah. You want to have some layers to you. You want to have some intricacies to you about who you are.
Complex simplicity.
Exactly. Because honestly, that attracts the hunt instincts of a man. Yeah. That attracts that hunting in us, getting to know you and, doing all those things. Because if you were simple, all I had to do was take her to dinner and let her meet my mom, and now she in love. You don't want to be considered that simple, do you?
That's that pick me energy. Yeah. Like some women feel like as long as they are completely compliant, that things are going to progress forward. But it's like, to your point, like men are hunters and gatherers. Yeah. So if you don't make a man work for that emotional intimacy, things of that nature, if you don't, y'all just value things more when y'all it's a little grit to getting it.
Yeah. It's like a prep. Yeah. I will say, and I'm not speaking for all men, I think as I'm becoming, just learning myself, the things that are important to me as a man, what I need above everything as a man is, it's not even love, it's not even affection, it's to feel like I matter. Like, I guess that would be appreciation.
So appreciation and respect.
I get and respect for sure. I think respect for me comes without even saying.
Because the Bible says that men need respect, women need love.
Absolutely. I agree with the Bible.
Like, I agree with the Bible.
And that's what the complexities of men and women have come to. Like respect and love is few far in between.
I would say to, I guess, counter or be in the same vein of what you mentioned, what I need from a man, the next man that I date, who I'm claiming right now is gonna be my husband.
See what I mean? He gotta be your husband.
Hey, I'm following the
you
word.
You put pressure on a man that ain't even met yet.
I'm praying for my husband before I even meet him. So
are you preparing yourself as well?
Absolutely.
So while you tarry, you need to prepare.
Exactly.
For those of you who know the word tarry, Tarry means to wait.
You went to Sunday school, did you?
You got the biblical reference. I'll just let you know that I got a little emotional intelligence.
You so silly. Now I need a man to be a man of his word.
Yeah.
And this is something that me and my best friend Alex we talk about. We've talked about this for years. Mm-hmm. Niggas will volunteer promises we've never asked for.
Not niggas.
I never asked for you to tell me that you love me. I never asked for you to paint this picture. You volunteered that. Then when I say, hey, is this the picture that you drew? Am I seeing this correctly? Yes, absolutely. You're seeing it. It's such a beautiful vision. Then some time go by, nigga be like, nigga, what you see? I ain't too much see. It's like, I didn't ask you for any of that. So it's like, I really want to, I'll say this, I'm excited to experience a man who will say what he says and stand on business about it.
Right.
And be a man of his word. Like, that excites me because I know it's still out there. And I'm not jaded to the point where I'm like, all niggas be lying. No, just some of the niggas I dealt with was lying.
Yeah. And that's very mature of you to say that because so many women live in that space of categorizing all men. And that's just totally unfair. You know what I'm saying? There are people that are men and women who are, moving with intention.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And integrity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I mentioned that last part. Like, definitely being a man of your word is really what women want, brothers. Like, that's really what it come down to, man. That's what it come down to. I appreciate this conversation. I definitely needed it.
I needed
it. Could you tell?
I needed it. We'll talk off camera about some things because there was a couple of tears I wanted to drop. I've been processing some things, but no, this was good. This was good.
So
I appreciate your vulnerability that you put yourself on the line for. A lot of you niggas who would never do it, but I love y'all though.
Yeah, I think it's the couch. It's the couch.
It's
the couch that make me want to. But we thank y'all for tuning in to the Humble Pie Podcast. Till next time.